Welcome to our podcast, Inspiring Living with me, Mark Candelaria. I'm an architect, blogger, traveler, chef, father, husband, and now author. I'm the founder and a partner of a fabulous 20-person architecture firm specializing in high-end residential architecture, designing amazing homes across the country and now the world. We have hosted tours over the last 23 years to Italy, Spain, Oregon, and soon Mexico and France. And in the course of all this, I have met a lot of interesting people who truly inspire me. We are excited to now be in our third season, and our podcast is all about the opportunities that are right there in front of us to inspire living. Yes, we will talk about architecture and design, but every week we will venture into all sorts of topics that will inspire you, teach you, and motivate you to inspire living every day. My guests will include a wide gamut of amazing people, from those in the design industry to clients to real estate professionals, chefs, artists, sports figures, and philanthropists, and people who just flat out get it. Sit back and enjoy, and let's have some fun exploring all the opportunities that are just waiting for us. Please subscribe and get ready to be inspired with every podcast. Okay, as my dad says, here we go. Thanks everyone for all the listens and downloads to our 2023 podcasts, now in our third season and fourth year with well over 100 podcasts now, and we have more in the works, including today's podcast featuring Kelly Stewart and Justin Worley of Oasis Luxury Smart Homes right here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Stay tuned as we will enlighten you, pardon the pun, with all of the amazing technology this company provides for the comfort of living in luxury in your home. Meanwhile, I know many of you have been following and praying for my Isabel, and I'm happy to report that following her surgery back in September, she completed 10 radiation treatments, and those in combination with all of your prayers, my Isabel is now cancer-free. Simply amazing, and Isabella and I thank all of you with all our hearts. It is truly a miracle and a testament to prayer and believing. Okay, so just the two of us are going to celebrate by taking off to Portugal, Spain, and France for a gratitude to God trip, leaving the day after Christmas, and we will be visiting such sacred spots as Fatima, Portugal, and Lourdes, France, amongst some of other sacred adventures. So stay tuned for that. Isabel and I cannot be more excited. Okay, we want to thank Lux Magazine for our feature in this month's edition, featuring a lovely Santa Barbara-inspired Candelaria design home, which also made the cover of the magazine. What an amazing collaboration with builder John Schultz of Schultz Development, interior designer Wendy Black Rogers, landscape by Berghoff Design, and lighting by Creative Designs and Lighting. Such a fabulous collaboration with my partner Meredith Thompson, who led the charge. Check it out. It's a beautiful feature. We also want to thank Phoenix Home and Garden Magazine for featuring both a Candelaria design and an Earth and Images home on the fall home tour. And we were proud to once again host the final VIP home at the end of the tour and sell a bunch of my books, Mark Candelaria Homes, which is, by the way, available on our website. Makes a perfect stocking stuffer, so go get you a copy right now. Okay, check the story notes for the link and get your copy today. We also were awarded a Design 9 award from Scottsdale Modern Luxury Magazine for one of our transitional modern Candelaria design homes, spearheaded again by my partner Meredith Thompson and project manager Tyler Bullris. Congrats to the team, featuring builder Arcadia Custom Homes, developer The Rosslyn Group with realtor Justin Shea, and interior designer Katie Bowe, and landscape by Berghoff Design. The same home also won a National Gold Nugget Award and an Iconic Award earlier this year. So great job to everyone. Congratulations. Finally, I do want to make mention of our 2024 Candelaria design tours coming up. First, we have a Oaxaca, Mexico tour from May 2nd to the 9th, which will be amazing. Artisans, mole, mezcal, music, and maybe even a little architecture. Then in August, we have our third Oregon Willamette Valley wine and food tour from August 8th to the 13th. This is such a fun tour, so I really encourage you to get out of the heat. Hopefully it won't be 104 in Oregon like it was this last year. I have a good feeling it'll be a little bit cooler than it is here in Arizona. Then we have sold out our 2024 Italy tour. It's gone. It's sold out. All veteran travelers going. It's set from September 17th through October 1st, so you'll just have to vicariously follow along and enjoy the tour virtually. And then we are working on a potential Santa Fe, New Mexico tour. That's where my wife Isabel is from. And we're looking potentially for late October. So we get the beautiful fall colors. So stay tuned for more on that. Okay. How's that for keeping busy? Let's get to our podcast. And so, without further ado, we welcome our guests, Kelly Stewart and Justin Worley of Oasis Luxury Smart Homes. Okay, our guests today are Kelly Stewart, Head of Business Development and Marketing, and Justin Worley, owner and CEO of Oasis Luxury Smart Homes, who I met them just the other day and toured their beautiful showroom in North Scottsdale. Thank you so much for that tour, you guys. I was blown away, to be honest. I figured it was going to be really cool, but it still was more cool than I expected. So
I appreciate you saying that. We put a lot of work into that showroom over the last 12 years. So having somebody with your expertise come in and give us that kind of compliment means a lot.
yeah, well, I was excited walking out of there. And I know I mentioned some little pet projects I have around the house. So you got me all teed up and fired up to get those going. So thank you. And then not to mention the great lunch, Kelly. So that was awesome too. You guys not only entertained me and showed me around, but you fed me a wonderful lunch. And so I was in perfect spot that day. So that was awesome.
I love that.
Okay, let's start with you telling our listeners a little bit about Oasis Luxury Smart Homes and what you do. Justin, will you give us an overview of what the team at Oasis provides?
Sure. We've been in Scottsdale, in the Scottsdale area, for about 15 years. And we started out as just a smart home company. And I say just a smart home company because that's actually a big deal. But we've evolved into a company that I like to call a one-stop shop now. So we like to get involved in projects very early on, and we do the design for all of the home technology in the home, the lighting design, and then we do all of the things that go along with that. Like we're a full-blown electrical company. We do shades, we do security, we do the smart home and home automation, we do the music throughout the house. And then we do a lot of fun things with the audio video, with the TVs, and different ways to disguise and work home technology into the decor of the home.
Yeah, no, I was really impressed the fact that you've kind of consolidated all those different aspects that we generally have to go to different designers or vendors for, and then hope it and pray to God it all comes together when the final install happens. And who knows who's putting the speaker where and the security camera where and the TV where, and it's like, oh my gosh, wasn't this all kind of thought through? So it's very refreshing and just real comforting to know that now you've got something like this all under one roof, all the way down to the window shades, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah, there's so much planning that goes into these things working together. And then, for someone like you to have one person to reach out to coordinate all of it together, I feel like we offer a lot. And
Yep.
For us, we enjoy it. Like, we're able to actually make sure the end result is what we promised and make sure that it's, fitting for the client's needs.
Yeah, it's great. So tell me how you got into this whole business, Justin.
So I was kind of fresh out of high school, and one of my friends was doing direct TV installs, and he just kind of started taking me along with him. And before you know it, about 2 years into working for that company, I'd started their home theater division. This was 25 years ago. And just kind of like, I've always had passion for technology. When I was a kid, I used to take apart every different thing you could imagine to see how it works. So it just was such a natural fit for me right out of the gate. And then the idea of providing what I know knowledge wise for clients and turning it into something that they can enjoy just immediately, it was such a good return for me, and it made me feel special. And so I just kind of evolved from there, worked for a company for about 10 years. And then at the right time, I decided, okay, I think it's time for me to go out and start my own company. And did that about 12 years ago with just me, and have evolved to a company now that's I think we have 42 employees right now between California and Arizona. And it's when you look back, it's mind blowing to me, like, to the evolution. It's been a lot of fun along the way.
Yeah. So then I think I caught that you went right from high school into this business. Did you go to college?
I went to DeVry for electronic engineering.
Okay.
I didn't get all the way through that because I started doing this, and it just turned into something that was a career path. And
I'm familiar. That's exactly my story. I just started drafting for one of my professors, and before I knew it, I was a partner of the firm and been there for 20 years, and then went on my own. So similar story.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for just on-site training.
Yeah,
I think we talked a little bit about this, Mark,
we
but
did.
this industry, a lot of people don't know it's even a career path. There is no specific college or school really that gets you prepared for what we do.
Right.
And, that's something I've been interested in, like exploring at one point in my career, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, like we talked, I know I'm a part of the group called Elevate, and we've had them on this podcast too. In fact, we're going to be doing some things with a bunch of kids here the next couple of weeks. And, I think it's just great to hear another story of how there is a different path that's available to these kids besides college.
Yeah,
And I think it's just something more that us in the industry need to make these schools and kids aware and open up that pathway so they can get on it and go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So okay, so Kelly, now it's your turn. Tell us your story. Now you're the head of business development marketing. You're doing a great job apparently here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm a little bit of an enigma in my own way too, because I don't have a technology background. So I've learned a lot working with and for Justin over the last couple of years. And I even love listening to this side of the story, hearing him talk about it because he's such a visionary. And
Yeah.
I think that really resonated with me when we connected. But I'm a California girl. I grew up in Southern California. I went to Cal State Fullerton, got my degree in communications and PR, and really had a love for traveling, good experiences, getting to know people. Worked for Nordstrom, so a high level, service was just kind of like in my veins for a while, and something that could provide a good experience was really natural for me. So I always found myself curious about how people work and just what makes you tick, and
Yeah.
discovered that people felt safe with me quickly and confided in me. And so sales or business development, it was a very natural progression for me. And so when I got in touch with Justin several years ago at Oasis, it was one of those things where, our team was so tech savvy and knew the nuances that I had to learn some of the technology, but I knew people. So it was a really good marrying of, it's nice to be in a space where you can always learn and grow. And also tap into kind of what your superpower is in the world. So that's sort of been my journey with Oasis. And I always am looking for ways to open new doors and bring partnerships together that bring opportunity to both sides. I believe it should be a win-win and mutually beneficial and uplifting. And then I just love traveling and visiting countries and seeing what the world is made of and appreciating different cultures and living life to its fullest.
So right now you're in California as we speak.
I am.
We are working with technology here. We're on Zoom doing this podcast. You're in California. Yep. Justin, I'm assuming you're in Arizona somewhere.
I am. Yep.
Yep. And I'm sitting here in my house. So it's kind of nice we could just jump on and do a Zoom.
I know.
In the world and put a Zoom together, right?
Magical.
Yeah. So I also see that you lived in New Zealand and Australia for a year, Kelly.
I did. Yes.
What was that like?
Amazing. Right after college, I bought a one-way ticket to New Zealand. I had $3,000 and I just went for it. And I worked along the way and I made friends and I taught yoga and worked at, at some like nice bistros that I found along the way. And I just got to see the land and the area for about a year and it was incredible.
I always like that metaphor of the one-way ticket and how so many of us, if we just employed that thinking a little bit more in our life, we would probably be really amazed at what we'd accomplish, no matter what age you are. Just, okay, I'm going for it. I'm going the one-way ticket. I got 3,000 in my pocket and here I go. See what happens.
True story. Yeah. And there, just like every part of life, there were amazing things that happened and there were challenging things that happened, but it teaches you
life.
How to manage it, how to have fortitude, how to navigate it, how to, you'll find your way if you keep going. So
how did you two meet?
So I actually had hired kind of a PR firm in California because I was new out there when I bought my company in California. It was just trying to learn who's who and kind of who would be the right people to partner with.
Yep.
And the Rachel, her company introduced me to Kelly because I was looking for a salesperson at that point and said, I have this Kelly who's one of the best people persons that you can ever have, but she knows nothing about technology. Would you be open to that? And I said, sure. I love to teach and love to train those kinds of things. And so I think we met the first time, and I believe, Kelly, if like we hired you before you even left the interview, if I remember right.
Pretty close to that. Yeah. I think I
And
walked away going, yeah, that's probably going to work out.
yeah, it was an almost immediate fit. Like we could tell, like the weaknesses that I have as a company, Kelly fills just perfectly. And then it was just so much fun for me to be able to educate her. And really, like, I can't say enough about how impressive it is that for Kelly to come from absolutely no technology background whatsoever, well, at least in home technology background, for her to have learned as much as she has in the last few years, to be able to go in with some of the most professional people in our industry, carry good conversations, understand what we do as a company, and get that point across. It's so impressive what she's done in the last few years.
Yeah, that's great. Well, just from my viewpoint, Kelly and I just kind of met over the course of this last year with different iconic events. Thanks to Renee D, our good friend. And what struck me about you, Kelly, was just I felt really comfortable with you. I felt like, gosh, have I known this person for a long time? Because I kept thinking, I'm sure I've met her before, but I don't think I ever have. But you made me feel like I had known you for a long time. I felt real comfortable with you, and just okay, this is a person I just like to hang out with, And I think what's fascinating is what Justin said is, to find a person that can do that, has that character about them that makes people feel comfortable, and learn the technological side, but not lose that part of that friendliness. That's a real gift. And I think Justin was really smart to identify that, because, working with tech nerds all day long, they're not necessarily the most engaging personalities that you want to hang out with all day. Okay.
Let's just be honest. Yeah.
No rep to the nerd guys. We need them. And I'm sure there are some that have great personalities, but I think the fact you were able to identify that and work with someone like Kelly that, obviously probably knew a lot of people in the Southern California market too. I think that was brilliant. And I can see how it's working. So great job to both of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so you talked really quickly about some of the systems you have. You talked about shades, the AV, security. Let's go in a little more depth on each of those. Can you just talk a little bit more about each of the different components that you represent in your showroom and your company?
Sure. The first thing I would say, we are not very brand specific. There's a handful of companies out there that, and I think it's a great idea to be very specialized in just Crestron or just Control4 systems or Lutron. As this industry's evolved and became more of a connected home that includes shades and electrical and lighting and all these other things, we've really found that every home actually may have different needs, and these systems, they fit them differently. So we started out as a home automation company. So Lutron and Control4 and Crestron and Savant are kind of some of the more well-known names, and we represent all of those. And we know them really well.
Can we stop you right there? So that that is one thing that has also been one of my pet peeves, is you'll go to one of these, control or automation companies, and they represent one thing and one company, and you don't know if you're just getting sold a bill of goods or is it really meeting my needs. And when you told me that you represent all those companies, that was like music to my ears, because from me serving my clients' needs, I want them to be aware of all the possibilities and have someone that's going to really fit the right shoe for them. You know what I'm saying? Not
Absolutely.
just, you have one shoe and this is it, guys. No, you're willing to show them all the pros and cons of all of these different companies and see what's going to work the best for them.
Absolutely. And I'll just do a really quick example.
Go for it.
Savant is a company that if you're into power management and energy management in your home, they do a lot of really cool things that the other companies don't do. Control4 is a company that is very easy to implement and design, and also very easy to add to. So certain clients that maybe aren't sure they want the whole big picture on day one, but want the ability to add to it, that's a good way to go there. Crestron, Lutron are two companies that are just known for their reliability. And so when you have a client that maybe just wants to have something that's rock solid and has a lot of has the ability to, if one system goes down, another one takes over, then those are really good ways to go. And then we're actually doing a new one called Josh AI, which is kind of a buzzword right now.
I think I met Josh in your showroom, right?
Yeah. And it's geared to be voice control, but they're turning themselves into kind of competitors for these other ones. And they've really taken the user experience to a new level.
Yeah.
The ability to be able to easily manage your own routines in your home from a smart home, like, your wake up routine for lights and shades. And, we could talk later about circadian rhythm and that kind of thing. They've really made that experience for a homeowner, like, just super easy. So our goal is to kind of sit down with the homeowner and try to understand how they're going to be living in their home before we really get into recommending too much.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm running into also is, we do a lot of remodels and renovations. And, when we did remodels and renovations 20 years ago, well, it was just lights and switches and maybe a dimmer switch if you were lucky,
Yeah.
But now we're going into these homes and they do have an old Control 4 or an old Savant system or Lutron system or something. And some of the equipment's pretty old,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a question of, do we just scrap it all? Can we tie into it? Can we just swap out some modules? And so that's another area that's just a complete mystery to a lot of my clients that are buying these houses. And like, how do we bring this up to speed?
Yeah, we run into that a lot. And the best thing we can do is, especially if a client's buying a home with the idea of going in and remodeling, we're happy to come out even before there's, they've closed on the home and provide basically an inspection on what they have.
Yep.
What's it going to take? I just finished a Lutron project that was a 20-year-old Lutron system that we were able to save 80% of it and just upgrade some of the brain systems so that it brought it to the newest technology. So there's a lot of really good options that we can recommend and work with.
Well, that's good to hear, because I am running into that more and more. And sometimes it's just hard to figure out, where do you even begin, Yeah. So in terms of these systems too, I think you mentioned that, for instance, security and things like that. And if, even the automation systems, once they're in, it's not like the story's over. There's things that come up. There's things that don't work. There's things that need to be adjusted. You provide all of that, including security. I guess you also monitor security systems. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We're a full-blown security monitoring company. We're the company you call. We're the company that calls you if the system goes off, and the company that services it. So, again, going with the idea of the one-stop shop, we really want to be able to be the resource for our clients during the design phase and after the fact, so that we've got a 24-hour text, email, and phone number. So we provide service for security and home technology and the electrical, anything that's
cool.
Technology in the home. If the client has an issue at a Friday, 8:00 at night, like, we're here for them to make sure that it gets handled.
That's great. That's great. Another thing that I noticed in your showroom that I'm seeing more and more of is the linear lighting. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, we're all used to can lights, and I know there's a whole different, echelons of what can lighting can do, but these new linear lights are just amazing.
Yeah, there's now, unfortunately, when I see some of the more beautiful homes, posted on Instagram and whatnot, one thing that draws my attention is when there's still can lights, because it's one of these things that I feel over the next 5 years, we're going to see a lot less can lights. And when you see a home that's done right with linear lighting instead of the can lighting, it's a recessed strip that goes into the ceiling. It provides a more natural, even distributed light, and it's a lot easier to do things like color temperature and wall wash. There's so many advantages across the board. I could go on for a long time about it, but it's something that I think over the next 5 years we're going to see a lot of homes with maybe no can lights to very few, and linear lighting being kind of what we get in the house, and it is just such a more modern, clean look.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So you mentioned a few of these latest and greatest innovations in home technology. What other things you see that are kind of on the forefront these days, besides like the linear lighting?
There's a few things. Number one, I think this is the most important thing that I've seen over the last couple of years that our industry has finally realized that is important, and it's reliability. There was a long time here where the technology just, I'd had clients for a while that said, I've had a smart home. I don't want it again. It's scary.
Yeah.
And so we've been putting so much effort into remote service, auto healing systems, the reliability behind it. And then the other thing that is huge is the fully connected home. Now everything actually does work together. All of these different manufacturers have realized, hey, we need to get on board with this, and we need to talk to, if I'm a linear lighting company, I need to talk to Savant and Control 4 and make sure I'm building something that works with their system, or Lutron. And so we're starting to see where you can have a system that's a voice controlled system that you can walk in and say, hey, it's time for me to relax, and everything from music to lighting and all that adjusts. And it actually works. It's actually where the user interface allows a client to be able to control those systems without having to have a technician like me come out and spend hours and hours and hours in their home reprogramming and setting stuff like that. It's just the whole experience from start to finish has just gotten so much better since the last few years with the different systems that have been out.
Yeah, and I love how you integrate the window shades and the lighting. And like I come home, I go, I want to meditate for an hour. Come on, put me in meditation mode. Everything drops, everything adjusts, the music changes to my meditation. It's like you can do everything, right?
Absolutely. And again, one of the key things, like you just mentioned, was, what's the newest stuff in our industry? It's the ability for the client to be able to manage those things.
Yeah.
It's for so long, it's like, okay, we put a really great, nice system in, but it never really met the full potential because the clients are busy. They don't necessarily have the time to call us out, and they don't know what they need until they're in the moment. So for them to have us come out and try to set up and be kind of psychic about how they're going to use the system hasn't always worked. So now it's a really good mix between having a professional that makes sure it's done right, but also being able to have an experience where you can manage your own home. That's right. To me, that's one of the biggest things in the last few years that we've made big steps forward on.
Because Inspiring Living is all about the people and the organizations that inspire us, we're excited to have a new sponsor for our podcast, the Sleep System Store, located at the northeast corner of Indian Bend Road and Scottsdale Road. The Sleep System Store is the only place in Arizona where you'll find premium handmade beds expertly crafted by the world's most exclusive brands, including Hastings, Vispring, and Cluft. At Sleep System, a trusted and highly trained sleep specialist guides you through the process of selecting your perfect fit. With 2 locations serving Scottsdale and surrounding areas, each location offers a unique lineup of beds and bedding selected from the best collections, engineered from completely natural materials for your comfort and brought all together to one premium destination, helping you achieve the best, most comfortable night's sleep imaginable. There is nothing better and more restorative to your well-being than a good night's sleep. Check them out in-store or online at sleepsystemstore.com. That's sleepsystemstore.com, and tell them the Candelarias sent you. Yeah. So the other thing you mentioned a little earlier was the circadian rhythms, which I think is a very interesting phenomenon and just way of living that I think more people are exploring in terms of wellness. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So circadian rhythm, it's basically any living organism, like anything from plants to animals to people, how the light affects you, how it can affect your sleep schedule, how it can affect your mood, your well-being. And so one thing that we've really gotten out of sync with is, the human body is one that we have so much indoor lighting now, and we're really messing with that internally. And so, there's all kinds of, there's whole industries about sleeping pills and stuff like that, are basically because, some point we decided fluorescent lights or 4,000 Kelvin lights are a good thing, and they can give you energy, they can motivate you, but they can also keep you up all night if you have them, too late in the evening.
Yeah.
So we're really embracing the idea of, again, these new linear lighting, the ability to be able to go in and have a home that follows the sun's color temperature. So when it's getting closer to sunset, the lights are adjusting down to a nice, warm, relaxing tone. It's helping your body get into the circadian rhythm that it needs to be. So when you go to sleep, you're actually ready to go to sleep.
Right.
And, it's I would say that the last 10, 20 years, it's just been fully overlooked. And we have all these other things we're trying to do to solve this problem, when can be as simple as making sure our homes are a little more in tune with nature.
Exactly. No, I think that's really, really interesting how that all works. And there's a lot of study that's going into all of that. And I think everything you just said is from my experience, I think is totally true. We just have to become more aware of it. So,
yeah.
So another thing there is there a point where people overcomplicate their home automation systems? Like, do I put my toaster on it? Like, do I get on my iPhone and say, I want my toast, medium brown, and my automation system's going to do that? And, does it monitor what's in my fridge? And, I got those pickles are old, I got to take them out. I mean, is there a point where it's too much?
Yeah, absolutely. Just about everything in your home does have, it's called the Internet of Things. So you buy a new refrigerator right now, it's going to probably go on your Wi-Fi system, and it's going to have some advantages. I wouldn't say that people overcomplicate their technology as much as when you hire a professional that just doesn't understand your needs or take the time. I've seen a lot of, even our company at certain times, we have to remind ourselves, like, we're making this not for us. Like, I'm a techie and I might want everything you could possibly do, and I enjoy doing that, but not every client wants that. From the most point, what we try to keep our focus on is helping clients use technology to enjoy their home, not to overcomplicate it. So it's a case by case basis. There's definitely, like, as I mentioned, there's so many things in the past few years that have moved us forward to where you don't have to worry as much about things just not working or a whole system going down and you're just lost in your home. That's gotten so much better, but it's still a matter of, like, let's make sure we focus on the parts of technology that you're going to use, that are going to make your life more beneficial. And, that's something that I think if you hire the right professional, that should be foremost at the front of their mind all the time.
Yeah, I agree. So if someone was getting ready to design a new home, or they're going to remodel their home, let's just talk about someone that's going to start a new home, brand new, out of, just on paper.
Yeah.
When is the best time to bring you and your company in? Is it during construction? Is it during the design phase? You kind of mentioned a little bit, you'd like to be involved in as early as possible.
Absolutely. I would say as soon as you have, basically as soon as they've got their first couple meetings done with you, Mark, then we want to be involved.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that, we can work with you to get on the plans that help the whole process be flow a lot better. Lighting is one of the big ones that, lighting and shades, we may need to change a little bit of the construction to make those things work.
The shade pockets is probably the biggest one, where, it's coming out of the ceiling, or are they coming out of the header of the window or door? And if it is, how big of a pocket do I need? Depends on how big the door and the window is. Is it 8 foot tall, or is it 20 foot tall?
Yeah, just the fact that you're mentioning that makes me so happy, because I can't tell you how many projects we've walked into that it was such an afterthought.
Yep.
And then it's trying to chase our tail a little bit at that point. Like, how do we do this still in a nice aesthetic way? And so, the sooner we can get in, the better.
I'll agree with that. Okay, so we're going to shift topics here a little bit. Kelly, you've been sitting there nice and here. You told me that you are also a mentor and coach. Tell me about that.
I am. Yeah, it's one of my passions. So I ultimately focus on helping an individual just get brave enough to be honest with themselves, and then move from a place of attachment to authenticity. So
you're talking about that one-way ticket again, right?
Yeah, the one-way ticket to inner
Get
freedom.
That one-way ticket and go. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. because you know, creating a relationship with yourself that you have peace with, is kind of the ticket forward usually. And so integrity is really a big thing to me. Just having integrity to me means what's happening on the inside is also happening on the outside. It's not necessarily a set of moral right or wrongs. It's a set of like, am I in alignment with my values, and am I living externally what's going on internally?
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I needed that for myself at different points in my life. And as I got all that right in my system in my formative years, I just came across people that really needed that too, you know. And I think there's a handful of things that determine our happiness in life, and it's pretty much health, wealth, and relationships. The quality of those three things determine how you feel about your life. And so, I'm passionate about inner freedom. And so when I see, you know, when I get the opportunity to have, it's just a conversation with people. I don't know everything, but I've learned a lot to contribute back. And I find that it adds a lot of value. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So how did you get, how'd you get into that whole lane?
People just kept wanting to talk to me, and I was like, why does everyone tell me their story? What do I do with this? Like, and then I just kind of embraced the reality that I believe everyone has gifts, you know, God-given gifts. And instead of being a little afraid of it and like, how do I support you in this? I embraced it and realized, oh, like this is actually my superpower. You know, the ability to make someone feel comfortable and really just see who they are, where they are, identify forward goals, and then hold them accountable to actions that move towards that. I realized that's actually priceless. And so, yeah, I just embraced it instead of being afraid of it. And it's probably one of my most favorite things in life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you have a nice quote here. He whose life has a why can bear almost any how.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. I love that.
That's so good. Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you have to keep your vision clear. You know, if you lose your vision, then all the life circumstances that come in and try to throw you off your center, you'll forget why you're doing what you're doing, you know?
Right.
And I think that just keeping that clarity, you know, circumstances change, of course, and you might have to shift how you're doing something or find a new method, or, you know, but it, like, the why doesn't change,
right?
You know,
exactly.
And so, you know, it becomes, I think, your anchor, your core force that pulls you forward, and you can just, everyone, we get to decide what that why is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you have some favorite podcasts? Are you a podcast person?
I am a little bit. I enjoy, there's a guy named Rob Bell that I really like. I think it's called the Robcast is what he calls it. And it's his whole notion is everything is spiritual. So he goes in and out and up and down, and it's a very cerebral experience, but he's got a lot of wisdom. And then, you know, I do like Oprah's the Soul podcast that she does.
Yeah.
I think those are fascinating. I love Dr. Jordan Peterson. Pretty much every word that comes out of his mouth is dripping with wisdom. Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, you mentioned Joe Dispenza. You've got something coming up with him. Didn't you say something?
Yeah, I'm going on a 7-day retreat south of Cancun. And it's just a meditation visualization retreat. So I'm stoked about that. Mm-hmm.
What are you doing that?
December 2nd.
Oh, so that's coming up.
Yeah. I am.
That's awesome.
Mentally preparing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
No, Isabel and I are both into all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, I think it's just one of those things. It's like exercise, which I need to do more of course, but, but it's the same thing. If you do it and you practice it, you get better and better at it. It's just like anything in life, you know?
Yeah. You have to build the habit, essentially. Yeah, it's creating the habit and consistently doing it.
Yep. So Justin, what are some of your favorite outside interests besides technology? What are you, like a hunter, race car driver, skydiver? What do you do?
I would say I've got two that come to mind when you ask that question. Number one is I've got a new 11-month-old son, and it's changed my world. Every hobby and everything I used to have is now a little bit different. I'm still including him in a lot of the things that I love. I'm a musician, so playing guitar and piano and going to watch other talented live musicians. That's that's top of my list. So I blended those two together over the last year, and it's been like just the best thing you could imagine, taking my boy to a live concert. And obviously I have headphones for him because I'm really sensitive, making sure it's not too loud on their sensitive ears. But he's going to be a guitar player. If the guitar's in the room, he finds it, he's picking it up, and he already at 11 months old knows how to hold a guitar pick and strum the guitar. So
that's awesome.
He's watched so much of it with me already, and it's just been like this newfound like joy is taking him and letting him. He just stares at the guitar player on stage and loves every bit of it. And you can even see him moving to the music already. So I would say right now that's my number one priority and passion in life right now.
That's very cool. I love hearing stories like that. What about you, Kelly? Do you have some other outside interests? I know you got the meditation and spiritual and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
What other things do you like to do there? Totally off the grid.
Off the grid. I'm a sucker for a really good glass of wine and a conversation. So I'll do that with anybody, anywhere, a new friend, a stranger. I grew up as a musician, so I love writing songs, both melodies and lyrics. That's just been kind of this quiet space that I've kept to myself over the years, but that was probably my first love. So it's this thing that's just always there for me.
Great.
And I like swimming in the ocean.
There you go. That's why you live in California, huh?
Yes.
A little hard to swim in the Salt River, but
it's definitely not the same.
Not the same. No, not at all. Not at all. So, okay. So let's talk real quick. Now I'm going to shift gears on you too. This wasn't on your questions, but I'm just curious what you guys come up with. So we talked about all the fun things in life. We got kids, we got swimming in the ocean, we got meditation. What have been some of your challenges in life? Kelly, I'll let you go first. And how did you overcome them?
My self-worth has probably been my biggest challenge, if I were to be 100% honest.
Yeah, that's good.
And more interpersonally than in work. I grew up with a very successful mom, and successful dads. My family, the work side was always really good, but my just my relationship to myself was a little weak. Oh. And so just how I felt about myself. And so, and I could give you specific things that play out in life, maybe the way I handled different relationships or thought I deserved or didn't deserve. But what I learned, what it came back to is my relationship with myself was a little leaky, And so that's the best way I can put it. And so how did I overcome it? I stopped lying to myself. I was willing to lose certain things to clear out, certain people, to clear out space to make room for something new. I accepted support from people, which is a vulnerable thing to do when you're in a hard spot, in that gray space. And then I watched it transform over time. Yeah. So and I've moved around a lot as a kid. As a kid, I moved around a few places, so I had to learn to adapt in new situations pretty quickly. Yeah. Because it's, you gotta figure out how to thrive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's probably my biggest core challenge. That and learning technology was a big challenge for me. It wasn't natural to how my brain works. It was like, how does this invisible box communicate to that remote? That whole thing. It just took me that was a learning curve for me. Yeah. Just putting all those pieces together, and I still have to put those pieces together.
It never ends, right, Justin?
Yeah.
I would say my challenge is probably teaching Kelly technology too.
You overcame it.
Well, don't ask me to program it. That's why we have a bomb team to do that part. That's
exactly right. Yeah. But they can't do a sales call the way you do, Kelly. So don't worry about it. You're good.
That's true.
Perfect.
Yeah. So what's next for Oasis? And are there some new and exciting things you are working on or markets you're expanding into? Because I know you're Scottsdale, you're in Southern Cal. What's next?
We've been looking a little bit into Palm Springs. We've got a couple projects going there right now, and just kind of testing the water a little bit. Deciding it's a lot of work to be in a new demographic. Yeah. When I opened California, I was sure it was going to be easy, and I talk about challenges like trying to learn how to prioritize time and just what's the most important thing to put your resources to and all that. It's a lot. So for us right now, we've really internally decided to work on our team culture and our client experience. It's not right now, we're not in a position where we're really focused, but we're testing the waters in Palm Springs a little bit. But more than anything, we want to make sure that we are the luxury provider that we say we are.
Yeah.
Lots of people, it's easy to write down what you do,
Right.
but then to actually make it happen and make sure that at the end of the project, you've done everything that you said you were going to do, and you're providing the service that you promised, or ideally a little bit more, exceeding expectations. And, that's something I think you can get lost a little bit if you're trying to grow too fast.
Yeah.
And so right now, between we're opening a brand new showroom in Corona Del Mar on Wednesday. And we've been working on that for about a year and a half. So between having that new showroom opened, and then with our electrical division that's just taken off this year in Arizona, we just want to be the best at what we do. We want to make sure that stays our focus. So I'll probably this next year, I'm really more focused on internal processes and just making sure everybody's knowledgeable and training our internal team than anything else. I feel like sometimes it's just the right time to focus, like Kelly said, focus on yourself. That's what we're doing as a company. We're going to be focusing on ourselves.
That's what you got to do. I mean, like I said earlier, it's just like exercise. You just got to do it all the time. And every experience with every customer is an opportunity to fine tune something and say, well, we've never dealt with this before. This is something we can be the best at. Let's adapt it. So you're never going to be the best. You're going to always be constantly thriving to be the best, because if you think you're the best, then you're done. Then that's the end of it. And, you start dying. So
tomorrow you're not the best.
You're never going to get to your destination. Your destination is always the next step beyond what was the best yesterday, which is great, because then it keeps you motivated, keeps you excited, and it keeps you sharp, keeps you on your game.
Absolutely. And over the last 2 years, one of the more exciting things is how all of these different manufacturers have just seemed to get it. And there's, for a while, we felt a little stagnant as an industry. But now there's just so many new things to do, and it's just a different world. So to me, making sure we just stay focused on us learning as a team and improving that over any kind of expansion, it's where we're at as a company right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just sitting here thinking about all the technology that's happening. I see those Waymos driving by all the time. I'm assuming someday I'll just be able to sit here on my iPhone and say, I need to pick up some stuff at the store. Instead of them driving to me, I'm going to send my car and just go pick it up and bring it back. And there's going to be all kinds of things like that, right? Yeah. Or my drone will fly over here and pick up my dry cleaning. I mean, who knows, right?
Those things are happening right in front of our eyes right now. The things that you say is kind of a joke. Wouldn't be surprised if you could actually find that on an app somewhere right now.
I know. It's kind of mind blowing. So yeah, the Jetsons are right around the corner, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. And in some instances, I mean, I'm sure you've seen them too in some of the homes, that it's the things we're putting into the homes. It's there. It's things that you would see on the Jetsons and think, oh, that'll never happen. And we're doing it.
There it is. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Pretty crazy. So anything else you guys want to offer today? This has been great. I've learned a lot just in the week I spent with you at your showroom and then on the podcast. It's been great. And I know it's going to be a lot of information that my listeners and clients are going to be, really happy they heard here. So thank you for doing all this.
Yeah, I would just say, I want to say thank you to you and how much I appreciate your time in the showroom, and just the little bit of conversation we've had has got my wheels spinning. When you mentioned the Elevate, the organization, I have thought about that just about every day since we met. Awesome. and ways that, we can, as an industry and as a company, start helping people see these career paths. It's all of a sudden it just clicked this is something we need to be doing right now. I mean, obviously everybody in the residential and construction industry, I think, would benefit if everybody was thinking that way.
That'd be great. I'll hook you up with Jasmine Hall at Elevate. She is the most charismatic and just energetic. Talk about a little energy bug. This gal, she's got more energy than anyone I've seen. And it's great because she keeps up with those kids. I think the kids try to keep up with her, to be honest with you. But I'll connect you with her. As I think what would be awesome is to get we're going to have, I think, 7 or 8 kids come through our office, our studio the next couple of weeks. Then we're going to take them out to a couple of job sites, and they're going to come back and actually design a home in our studio.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
We're going to give the winner an iPad, so it's a lot of fun. But I can imagine how fun it would be for them to come to your showroom and then maybe go to a couple installs of some amazing houses and see this stuff in just happening. I think they'd be blown away. And then if you can explain, the opportunities that exist to them beyond the college path, here's another way you guys could go.
Absolutely.
I think you might have a good farm club pretty fast.
Absolutely. I just to take it one step further, I've even got a couple, I'm going to call them kids, but 22-year-olds that work for me that just had not a lot of direction, not sure what they wanted to do. And now they are just excelling. And I definitely want to have them as part of that, because I think they'll be a big, shed some light to those kids.
That's awesome. Well, I'll get you guys connected, and who knows, maybe we'll do a podcast someday when you got the kids out there. That'd be a lot of fun. We can talk to them and see what they learned and what happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for joining us, you guys. What are some of the best ways for our listeners to find and connect with Oasis and whoever else you want to connect with? How do we do it?
I would tell you the easiest way is jump on our website, oasissmarthomes.com, because we do text, we do email. You can reach Kelly or myself at Justin@oasissmarthomes.com or Kelly@oasissmarthomes.com. Okay. But if you jump on our website, it really paints a picture of what we're about. And we've got a lot of really easy ways to just get to our Instagram, get to our Facebook, get to, a contact form, or just even text us right from the website, which is really nice.
Well, I love your Instagram. So that's always a lot of fun. And so we'll put those links in our story notes on the bottom of the podcast. So definitely check those all out. And you guys, thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, what's left of it. The weather is fantastic. So let's all get out there and enjoy it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin and Kelly. Great job. And wow, thanks for the showroom tour. And we look forward to working with you real soon. So keep going. Okay, we have some great podcasts coming to you in the weeks ahead. So stay tuned. Thanks for your continued listening. Thank you also for the ratings and reviews. Please give us a rating review, as it really helps promote our podcast. Let me know that you did, and you might just get a signed copy of my book. Okay, we do our best to inspire living in everything we do, from our podcast to our cooking classes, our book, our homes, and our tours. Okay, have a great week, everyone. Stay safe, happy holidays, and let's all live our lives with love, compassion, grace, and positivity. Thanks for the listen, and we look forward to connecting again real soon. Because Inspiring Living is all about the people and the organizations that inspire us, we are excited to have Monogram Appliances as one of our sponsors. Anytime we do a new kitchen or a kitchen remodel, Monogram Appliances are what we recommend to our client. Their appliances are the definition of luxury, meticulously detailed using the finest materials and an ownership experience that is second to none. This is how Monogram is always thinking ahead and inspiring and elevating the kitchen experience. Because at Monogram, they don't just elevate one thing, they elevate everything. I want to say a big thank you to my good friends at Stockett Tile and Granite Company, where your project is our priority. I want to thank the Stockett team, along with so many others who contributed to the success of our fabulous demonstration kitchen in our new Candelaria design office expansion. You will have to check out online our video cooking classes, and our kitchen is amazing. I've had the pleasure of working with the Stockett team for nearly 40 years on many spectacular projects, and trust me, they are the epitome of excellence when it comes to tile, marble, and granite work, bar none. Their skill and customer service is impeccable, and the bottom line is they are just good people. I have traveled with and dined with and just had good times, both personally and professionally, with Dave Stockett and his lovely wife, Becky, and they are the best. When it comes to your next tile and stone project, make sure Stockett Tile and Granite is a part of your team. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our podcast. We encourage you to write a review, screenshot it, and share it with your friends. Please instant message it to me and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights to inspiring living next week.